Hi, I'm disability lawyer David Brannon. I'm going to talk about the question, can I quit my job while on long-term disability? After watching this video, you'll know kind of the do's and don'ts about quitting a job while on long-term disability and things you should think about before you make that decision. If you want to learn more, click on the links below for our guides and free information. And also don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you'll get our videos every week. So when can you quit a job while you're on long-term disability? And if you quit your job, what ramifications or effects might be there for you? Generally speaking, you have to be very cautious about quitting a job while you're involved in a long-term disability claim. Whether that be you haven't applied yet, you're waiting on an approval of a claim, you're appealing a denial, or you're on an approved claim, doesn't really matter. Quitting a job can have some major implications for your disability claim, and you should always seek legal advice from a lawyer before making that leap. It is true that it's separate. Like, your right to the long-term disability is separate from your employment relationship. So if you've already established your claim, and it's certainly if you're being paid benefits, that is separate from your employment relationship. So technically you can quit in some situations and it will not have any effect on your long-term disability benefits. But there are other situations where it's not so clear, especially if you have not yet filed your claim for long-term disability, or if you're still in the process of doing so. You have to be very careful about quitting. Sometimes the wording in these policies can require you to still be an active employee at the time of the application and things like that. So you have to be very cautious about quitting. The other thing I would ask you is, why do you want to quit? Well, you might legally be able to quit. There's often not a good reason to do it. You can stay on a medical leave with your employer indefinitely until they want to initiate firing you, right? So why would you want to quit? If they initiate the termination, you may be entitled to severance pay or termination pay. If you quit, you're going to give up on that. The other thing is, this will be seen as a red flag for the insurance company. If the insurance company sees you quitting, they're like, why are they quitting? Is there something going on here? Maybe this is a toxic work environment, and maybe they're not really disabled, they just don't like their job. Oh, well, this is where they're going to go with that. So you have to really ask yourself, why am I quitting? We often see people wanting to quit when it's time, where the insurance company's kind of pushing you back to work, you're not ready to go, your employer's not being great about it. And there's this tension that can happen there about, look, you're interested in working, but you don't really want to go back to that employer. That type of situation, you should seek some legal advice on it, because you do have some rights there. But again, if you're quitting, it is going to cause red flags for the insurance company. Doesn't mean you don't have a right to quit, but it can cause problems with your claim, and you may want to put off quitting, especially if you're going to do a return to work that is not guaranteed for success. Your own employer has, because you're an employee, they have obligations to you under the Human Rights Act. They have a duty to accommodate you short of undue hardship. The insurance company knows this. If you quit that job, you're now back out on the open marketplace. New employers don't have a duty to accommodate you right out of the gate. So you're making it harder for yourself to be employed. And that is going to be something that will have people scratching their heads later on if you don't have a real good excuse about why you quit. You just quit and made it harder for yourself to go find work. A judge is going to wonder, well, why didn't you go back there? They would have had to accommodate you. Now you're saying you weren't able to do other work, but you have to be very cautious about it. And often it's in your best interest to try to go back to the former employer in many situations, even if your plan is eventually maybe to leave. Now, the final point here is, sometimes people have other benefits that are tied to their employment that have nothing to do with the long-term disability. Like, you continue to get your medical plan, you can continue to do pension contributions. If you quit, you can lose the rights to some of those other employee benefits. Now, so that is something to consider. If you want to continue to receive those benefits, then you would definitely not want to quit in that situation. Now, if you want to learn more, click on down below and hit some of our free information. We have guides and books that you can download. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification and leave some comments and follow up with our videos that come out once or twice a week. Look forward to seeing you next time.